Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. Since 1926, Farm Bureau has been working to preserve Virginia farms and our rural heritage. Visit our website at vafb.com.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce the wonderful local products we enjoy. Brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. This week we're coming to you from the Virginia State Capitol. Virginia cotton growers harvested extra fiber last year. Raising fish and plants together is a popular trend for greenhouse owners. And we travel to Southwest Virginia to visit Smyth County farmers.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Welcome back to Real Virginia, everyone. We're coming to you this week from the Virginia State Capitol and the Virginia Women's Monument, which features a Smyth County farming pioneer. More on that story in a bit. But first, Dave Miller reports that Virginia cotton growers had a record year in 2019.
Virginia cotton growers agree that 2019 was one of the best, if not the best, growing seasons in Virginia history. About 200,000 bales of cotton were harvested last year on 104,000 acres, 10% more than in 2018. Raising a record cotton crop requires the cooperation of Mother Nature, timely rains and dry spells. Fortunately, Southeast Virginia is a great place to grow cotton, thanks to its combination of hot summers and cooler nights.
This is our 28th season at this facility, and we see just the best quality in both color, staple length. We had a great harvest season, which helped a lot. The demand for high quality cotton is good, so our farmers are seeing premiums on their quality, mostly for color and staple length. This fiber will be used into high-end applications, high-end shirts. You won't see a lot of sock yarn coming out of this cotton because it's just really, really good fiber.
Philip Edwards raises cotton on more than half of the 2,100 acres he farms near Smithfield. His farming practices include good environmental stewardship, like soil tests and targeted fertilizer applications. His father taught him to take care of the farmland, and that has paid off.
It was an excellent cotton crop, actually the best cotton crop we've ever harvested since I've been growing cotton in 25 years, so it's been an excellent crop. We try to meter in crop inputs as we go through the season, as we see what the crop is becoming. You know, whether it be extra fertilizer. So we try to start with a low fertility plan and then feed that crop along as we need to. And that does two things. It allows us to grow a good crop. It lets the crop use up that nutrient input so we have less runoff, so we can still grow a good crop and still be environmentally sound in doing that.
5 localities in Southeast Virginia have the best climate and soil conditions for raising cotton. It's a crop farmers can rely on to produce a good average yield even in unfavorable weather years. And when the weather is good, Virginia farmers are ready to reap the rewards.
So the things that were different, because it's the same farmer, same soil types, was the weather. We are experiencing a nice pattern this year for not getting too much rain, but kind of keeping it going. Typically in those types of years we have dry seasons and dry spells, but we get the relief when we need it from some timely rain. The other side of that coin, as I think about it, is also the genetics that we're getting now is improved. We believe we've got superior varieties that can withstand some of the stress that happens in these drier years to take those yields to a new level.
Suffolk cotton grower Shelley Barlow has also been celebrating a good year. In addition to helping run the cotton harvester on her family farm, she was elected chairman of the board of the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services in 2019. Cotton prices have been very low this year, but as an industry leader, she thinks cotton still has a profitable future for some growers.
A big push in the cotton industry right now is sustainability. And the industry itself is doing a lot to not just say we're sustainable, but to prove that we're sustainable. So there's a lot of efforts underway to demonstrate that the cotton industry as a whole is sustainable, from the farmers on up through processing and so forth. So the takeaway for me is that we have a natural fiber that we grow a new supply of every year. We use, sunshine and rain and fertilizer, and I can't imagine why anybody would want to wear anything besides cotton.
U.S. cotton exports are down in 2019 due to a trade war and lower demand. So while Virginia cotton growers are celebrating a great harvest, their profits will be slim. Still, Barlow says Virginia cotton stands out for its color and quality, giving them a marketing advantage. And there's always hope for a more profitable year in 2020. In Isle of Wight County, this is Dave Miller.
Cotton production in Virginia declined in the 1930s with the introduction of an insect pest, the boll weevil. In the late 1980s, the boll weevil was eradicated from Virginia and production began to increase. In 1978, only 100 acres of cotton was grown in the Old Dominion. In 2018, 97,000 acres were harvested. Most cotton is grown in the southeastern corner of the state, and it has become a more attractive crop for growers as returns on the peanut crop declined in recent years. In 2018, Virginia cotton growers sold $70.6 million of the fiber crop, $20 million more than the previous year.
Hi, today we're going to be talking about aquaponics from the ground up. Please stay tuned.
How do you raise food crops and fish together indoors? Chris Mullins of Virginia Cooperative Extension says that the science of aquaponics is catching on with many greenhouse owners, and even students are learning how, from the ground up.
Well, hi and welcome. Today we're in Louisa County, Virginia. We're at the high school, middle school complex, and we're going to be talking about aquaponics. This is an area that I get a lot of questions from every day about how people can grow things in aquaponic manner. Today we're here with Kenny BOUWENS. He's one of the CTE directors with the county. Kenny, why aquaponics? Why did y'all decide to get into an aquaponics system?
That's a great question. So we're always looking for ways to get our students interested in agriculture or any career that they're interested in going into. So this was a way that we could appeal to a different type of learner. A lot of people go home and they're used to their standard in the dirt gardens or the farms that their parents or uncles or someone may operate. But you don't often see a soilless system or an aquaponics system in everyday life. So we thought, why not build one here where students could experience it, work through it, do some of those STEM things, testing the water, taking care of the fish, watching the plant growth, and really get them excited and passionate about something that they could go out and replicate either in their home or at work.
Yeah, and you're one of the few schools in the state that's doing some of this. I'm really happy to see you doing this. For those who don't know, what is aquaponics?
So aquaponics is a soilless gardening. So in here we have just rock instead of dirt, and we use all the nutrients that comes out of this tank here, which is full right now with about 30 bluegill fish. They create the nutrients and things that our plant need to survive. It comes through here. This is a filter that uses gravity. The water swirls, solids sink to the bottom. It cleans our water out, prevents solids from going to the tank, and then the water is pumped into these 3 grow beds. The nutrients are uplifted through the roots to the plants, and when it's done, it drains back down and is pumped back in the fish tank. So it's kind of a closed loop system where we're constantly flowing our nutrients from the stock tank here where we keep our fish into our plants where they need it to grow.
So that's why I think people are so interested in it, because it's helping the fish or helping the plants, and the plants are helping the fish, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a symbiotic relationship where they're getting what they need and the fish are getting what they need. We just supply the fish with food, and then obviously monitor the water levels, the nutrients and things to make sure that pH, nitrogen, those types of things are all where they're supposed to be. But the system really takes care of itself, and it's great.
I noticed you've got some great tomatoes and lettuce and basil growing here, and the students are all completely involved with the production.
Yeah, they've done a lot, even from building. I've got to give our students a lot of credit on the construction of this system, from our high school students who did some of the construction of the system and chopping and things, to our middle school students who came in and did all of the plumbing and bringing all the gravel in and then helping us with the planning. So once they get the planning in, there's not a ton for them to do other than, again, just monitoring the fish, making sure they're fed. We do a clean out every couple weeks. We'll drain this filter down just to make sure we're cleaning all those solids out. And then it's mostly just kind of watching them grow and to see them get excited. They really enjoy the fish. I think that's one of their favorite parts, to come in and see the fish and name the fish and that kind of stuff.
I know you've got some other high-tech sort of things associated with this. Tell me about what you've got outside.
Oh yeah, so we've got a 400-watt solar panel system right on the other side of this greenhouse, and that's powering this whole system. And our students from our energy and power class at the high school installed that system, designed the system. They worked with our maintenance department to make sure it's wired safely and properly grounded. So we're pulling all the power we need, and we can run for about 2 or 3 days and keep running if there's clouds or bad weather. So the system is kind of fully sustainable. So we're not pumping energy into it. Again, I think other than fish feed is probably about the only energy that we put into the system.
So Kenny, how much would something like this cost, or did it cost for you?
So for us, this system was completely free, and I've got to thank Dominion Energy with their environmental stewardship grants that they do every year. So we applied for that and were awarded the full funding for the entire system you see here, plus the solar panels. We also got some local donations from BioCat on the IBC container. So we're able to get a lot of this stuff at no cost. But if you were to buy it all yourself, I would say it'd be right at about $4,000. And that, again, includes the solar panels, the batteries, and everything you need, the grow media, everything.
Well, that is great. A really neat thing you're doing here for education. I think gardeners, homeowners can do something like this and have a very sustainable, high-tech system that they can have at their house too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually working in my mind right now on building one in my garage, so we're getting there.
Well, Kenny, thank you so much for allowing us to come out here today and see all the operation you've got. It's really impressive.
Thank you.
Well, for more information, contact your local county extension agent and ask more questions about aquaponics. For From the Ground Up, I'm Chris Mullins. We'll see you next time.
From the Ground Up is presented with the generous advice and assistance of Virginia Cooperative Extension. Visit their website at ext.vt.edu.
Mushrooms are more than just an accent in some dishes. Chef John Maxwell shows us how to make a mushroom chowder next, in the heart of the home.
And now, a sneak peek into a day in the life of a Virginia dairy cow. They get their day started. They have some lunch. Get some exercise. Spend time with their friends. And then end their day with dairy sweet dreams. Real dairy, real life, real delicious.
Fresh Virginia mushrooms can be a flavorful part of many dishes. Chef John Maxwell creates a simple yet delicious mushroom chowder in the heart of the home.
Hi, welcome to the Heart of the Home. I'm Chef John Maxwell, and we're here in Doswell, Virginia at Meadow Hall at Meadow Event Park, and we're getting ready to play with some great Virginia farm-raised mushrooms. These are beautiful, they're consistent, and they're available this time of year. So I've got a pot over here with some butter, just browning off the butter a little bit. Right? That's done. I'm going to add some onions. Well, some flour rather, I'm sorry. Okay, we're going to add some onions. And we're going to add some shallots. And we're going to add some garlic. Now, I don't want these to brown off because I don't want to give my chowder too much color. What we're doing here is making what's called a roux. Right? It's a French term for the butter and fat, for the flour and fat that will absorb the liquid and cause this to tighten up some. Now I'm going to add a little bit of vegetable stock. Now I use butter because I like the flavor of butter and I like what it does in here, but if you use the vegetable oil, this would be a good vegan dish because there's no animal fats or animal products in it other than the butter. Again, I want this to come to a bit of a boil and start to thicken. All right, it's boiling. So I'm going to add the mushrooms to this. Don't want to overcook the mushrooms. Want them to keep their shape, but we want them to soften up. So I got a nice good batch of mushrooms. I got shiitakes, and I've got white forest mushrooms and brown forest mushrooms and creminis. All kinds of mushrooms in here. And you can use any kind of mushroom that you want. If you wanted, this soup works really good, straight out with white button mushrooms. Okay. Now, I want to give this just a second for the mushrooms to spill off the water that they're going to spill off of, and then I'm going to add some more of the stock. Whenever I use butter, I like to add an acid to what I'm cooking so that we can cut some of that fat. And the acid that I'm going to be using today is white wine. Just going to add about a cup of white wine to this. And stir that around. And I'm going to add some thyme and a couple of bay leaves. A little bit of salt. Now this is just going to simmer until the mushrooms are done. And then I'm going to add some milk. Okay, this is just about ready. I'm going to add some of the dairy, a little bit of milk or cream or half and half. I'm using a little bit of cream to lighten it up and give it that nice round flavor in the mouth. Got a little bit of thyme here. I'm just going to strip some of it off of here. Sprinkle it on the top. So we got a nice green look to it. And there we go. Nice creamy mushroom soup made with all the wild mushrooms of the season.
Recipes from the heart of the home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafb.com, as well as on Chef Maxwell's website at chefjohnmaxwell.com. Virginia mushrooms are a specialty crop gaining in popularity. They require consistent growing conditions, so they're usually raised indoors. In the past 5 years, the space devoted to raising mushrooms has increased by 50% to 36,868 square feet. There were 41 commercial mushroom producers in the Old Dominion in 2017, selling mostly to restaurant chefs and local buyers. Some landowners raise shiitake mushrooms in wooden cribs and also sell them locally. Mushrooms are also plentiful in the wild, but always ask an expert before consuming one that you're not familiar with.
Scenic Smyth County is in the mountains of southwest Virginia. In this week's County Agriculture Close-Up, Burke MOELLER tells us that farmers here are working with 21st century challenges while building on the legacy of a 20th century marketing pioneer.
Founded in 1832, Smyth County is close to Virginia's borders with Tennessee and North Carolina. Cattle is the dominant industry in this mountainous region.
Beef cattle by far are the number one thing that we move in Smyth County. That is what pays the bills. And that is something that has changed as far as agriculture goes in Smyth County.
Raising cattle is usually one of the best ways to farm in the mountains. But full-time cattleman Justin McClellan's family has been in Smyth County for several generations, and he says market forces in the industry are putting pressure on those who have chosen his way of life.
They're a whole lot tighter, having to become a lot better manager to be able to make a profit.
There are 663 farms in Smyth County, with an average size of 186 acres. The market value of all agricultural products is $37,561,000. Most farms fall between 10 and 100 acres in size. Smyth County has only 19 farms that are 1,000 acres or more. The county is 452 square miles in size, but only a quarter of that, 123,214 acres, is used for farming. When it comes to sales, cattle and calves earn the most, with $29,526,000. In 2017, dairy farmers earned $3,870,000. Like many mountain counties in southwest Virginia, cultivated Christmas trees and other short-rotation wood crops are a factor in the local agriculture economy. In Smyth County, these products bring in $184,000. Sales of timber and other forest products also generated $112 million in 2015 for Smyth County landowners. Jason Pratt owns 200 head of Angus cattle. His family has seen the cattle business evolve over several generations.
There's some diversity in the beef cattle business. We're one of the few seed stock producers in Smyth County. And then from there, there's a large cow-calf section there in that. And then there's also a group of guys that background cattle that'll buy stocker calves, graze them through the summer, and then sell them in the fall.
The story of Smyth County agriculture wouldn't be complete without mentioning Laura Lou Copenhaver. She and another 11 women are honored here at the Capitol grounds in Richmond, recognizing the full contributions of women in the Commonwealth. Miss Copenhaver was a leader in Smyth County's agriculture industry, serving as the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation's Director of Information. She had a keen business mind, working with other Smyth County women to create coverlets using wool from local sheep producers.
She knew that there were sheep farmers here who were really struggling to feed their families, who were getting no money for their wool because they didn't have a market. She located these farmers, these sheep farmers and their wives. She also set up a way for these sheep farmers and for other farmers to market their skills.
Rita Copenhaver is related to Laura by marriage. She says Miss Copenhaver's products were highly regarded, not just in Virginia and the United States, but all over the world.
We have letters from Iran, from a note from the personal secretary of the Queen of England.
Emily Edmondson offered an opening invocation at the Women's Monument dedication in 2019. A member of the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation Board of Directors, she says she takes inspiration from Copenhaver's example.
What she was doing was adding value to agricultural products, and this woman used her entrepreneurship and was able to do a successful industry. And she was a woman, and she is an example, an early example of what women can do, not only in agriculture but in all sorts of industries across the state. And we're very proud of her for what she did for agriculture.
The legacy of Miss Copenhaver is one that continues to inspire Smyth County farmers today. Like all farmers, they are innovators working to boost their profits and make a better living off the land. In Smyth County, Virginia, I'm Burke MOELLER reporting.
We're so glad you could join us this week to celebrate all the bounty Virginia has to offer. From the kitchen to your home and garden to our wide open spaces, we are proud to say that this is Real Virginia. For all of us from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a great week.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay.